Hi everybody, and welcome to my channel. I thought I'd take a moment to walk in my favourite place in the New Forest and just explain who I am, what I do, and why I've set up this channel. So, I'm Adam, great to meet you. I've been making music professionally for about 25 years. I've always been into creating music. I started off with guitar, drums, piano, saxophone, all of the classic instruments. And then as I got older and more into technology, I started to realize that computers were my favorite way to make music. So from there, I started tinkering with apps like Cubase, Rebirth back in the day, and got more and more into making music electronically. So I think I probably started doing that in 1999, 2000. And shortly after that, I started to fall in love with hardcore dance music. So me and my friend Alex McDougall, absolute legend, started creating hardcore dance music together under the name Ephexis, E-P-H-E-X-I-S. And this was really popular, it did really well. We played music all over the world, we had lots of listeners, support from record labels and management and that kind of thing. And then, I think it was in 2007, we were on tour in Finland, and unbeknown to me at the time, I got bitten by a tick in the forest, he says, whilst walking through a forest. And the week after that, I was in Thailand, and I got very, very poorly. And it turned out that I'd got Lyme disease from this tick. So ultimately, the trajectory of my life changed significantly, because it was quite a new thing, especially in England, Lyme disease at the time, and it was very hard for me to treat it, especially as when I was in Thailand, they misdiagnosed it several times, and then when I got back to England, I didn't get the right treatment. So after a couple of years, I eventually found an amazing doctor who gave me the right antibiotics and kind of, treated the disease for the first time around. So about 18 months, 2 years into that process of being really poorly and kind of looking for treatment and stuff, I went back to the studio and picked up Alex's cat, gave it a good snuggle before we got started. And then when I got home, I found another tick on me. And I got Lyme disease again. This time, it got a bit more complicated because there must have been some remnants of the previous infection, something like that. And it became very, very hard to treat. Oscillating from feeling totally fine to feeling like death. Having to quit my job, having to stop writing music, dealing with brain fog, body pain, loads of things that really made life particularly unpleasant. And I spent a lot of time, probably the next 2 or 3 years, trying to fight off this crazy infection, this infectious disease. So eventually I had to stop, officially making music with Ephexis because I was just too unreliable. I couldn't commit to gigs, I couldn't commit to studio time, and it was just really, really challenging, to be honest. So after a short time, I can't quite remember when it was, but I was at a music festival and somebody suggested ayahuasca as a treatment. And at the time, I couldn't really go for that because I was on antibiotics and the two wouldn't really play well together. But I finished this ridiculous course of antibiotics and then went on to try more alternative medicines, which was all sort of coinciding with my musical interests also changing dramatically. So I'd loved making hardcore, but my new love was Psytrance. So parallel to my healing journey with the Lyme disease, I started creating Psytrance as well. So they're utilising the skills of the hardcore production that Alex and I had basically done ninja training, 16-hour days, sometimes 6 days a week, to really blow the production levels into the next category. We spent all of our time mastering synthesis, arrangement, sound design, excitement, building incredible sounds, textures, soundscapes, all of that stuff, which became really well known for. So I was able to take that skill set and apply it to Psytrance. So that was also really popular and beautifully coincided with my healing journey, because I found Psytrance to be a particularly healing type of music to make, especially Psytrance festivals, where the beautiful, loving environment of connecting with nations from all around the world in this sort of shared state of dance and celebration together really blew my mind and made me realise that humanity can do it, you know. We can coexist with love and gratitude and expansion if we just let ourselves do it. So I started writing Psytrance. I loved it. I then, sort of maybe 22 healing ceremonies later, I'd pretty much purged myself of all aspects of the Lyme disease at the time. So that was the second infection. And then I powered myself into multi-genre mode after discovering the 432 Hertz harmonic BPM system, which was an absolute game changer. There's a book by an amazing guy called Derek called Mathemagical Music Production that changed the way that I understand the nature of vibration and tempo. So from that system, I started becoming what we've called genre fluid. So really being able to be in the moment. There's some beautiful birds flying around. Being in the moment with your creative energy, tuning into yourself and expressing from there. So the beautiful harmonic BPM system also links the energy centers of your body with the tempo of the music. So you can kind of sit down and be like, oh, I really feel like I'm in my heart today. Let's make some music that expresses that. And that decision outlines the BPM and the key, because they're kind of the same thing, that you're going to be working in. So I spent a long time cultivating a system that allows me to create, perform, and express music in a completely different way that allows for genuine, in-the-moment creativity and movement of your creation space, which was absolutely fantastic. Just realised I've been walking quite fast and a little bit out of breath. So yeah, from these journeys and adventures in 2022, after COVID, I kind of realised that living in a city really wasn't for me, and it was very challenging to be an artist whilst the price of everything was going up and the events industry was just building itself back up again after being decimated by COVID. So I set an intention one day that I really wanted to change everything. I wanted a dramatic shift in my life to occur. The next morning, I had a letter through my letterbox from my neighbours saying that their friends wanted to buy my house. And I matched with a wonderful woman called Annalisa on Tinder. And everything changed that day. So we very shortly after that Annalisa and I went to a retreat in Mexico. It's like a 5D consciousness activation retreat. And there we also met some friends who were developing some land for residential artistic retreats in Tulum in Mexico. So we decided to go in on the project and purchased some land as well. And we basically decided to set up something new. This was the birth of Galactiv8. The intention of Galactiv8, which is kind of a brand, but it's a record label, it's events, it's music production tools, it's meditations, and it's tuition and courses in how to tune into yourself and to express the depths of your unique creativity as a unique being in this incredible realm that we find ourselves in. And so it's my passion and my pleasure to help people to create music. So if you were to check out the Galactiv8 website, you will find all my albums, you'll find all of the music production tools, and all of the courses that I'm starting to put together. So we have a platform that we've created. And I've spent like the last 20 odd years cultivating my skill set, but I've been pretty terrible at marketing and showing my face. I was really lucky with Ephexis because it was the days of MySpace and SoundCloud being good, and we were able to promote ourselves really easily and find people that would promote for us. Let me just get my gimbal right. So I kind of got stuck in that headspace of, oh, I can just make a Facebook or MySpace post and get gigs and interest in the things that I'm doing, which is obviously very, very different now. So I've been a bit of a hermit, to be honest, and during that time I've been cultivating my skill set and learning sound design, learning expression, learning how to really take consciousness to new levels with sound, with dance, with music, with meditations. And with the combination of the 432 Hertz harmonic system and all of this experience in sound design, I've kind of been planting the seeds for an epic array of products, services, music performances, meditations, events, all of this cool stuff. But I had never shown my face to talk about what it was that I was doing, or my journey, really. So this is it. This is my hello to the world. And I understand that the camera angles are a little bit dodgy, but I wanted to be kind of authentic and drop the high production values for a moment and just explain who I am and where I've come from. So if any of this resonates with you, if you want to hear my music, if you want to learn about my music production tools, or if you'd like to know more about my story, then leave a comment. I'll get back to you really soon. And I think ultimately my message is one of creativity is going to be one of the ultimate currencies of humanity as we are kind of witnessing the breakdown of the capitalistic financial systems which were flawed either intentionally or through ignorance and are kind of self-destructing. You know, fiat currency systems are designed to self-destruct. Globalization without honouring the planet isn't going to lead anywhere good. But sustainability is possible. So I didn't mention actually that after selling my house, I moved into a camper van and created a fully mobile setup. So I went from 20 odd years of being in an acoustically treated space to suddenly being on the road and free and being able to go on walks like this and create. Now, there were a couple of what I perceived to be compromises, which turned out to be bonuses. Like, firstly, not having a monitoring environment, like a really expensive treated studio. Sure, I missed that, but I was able to use the Slate VSX headphones to emulate studio environments, and been lucky enough to have friends with epic studios that I can go and check out my tunes and see how they're going. And after a couple of years of using VSX, I've been able to, you know, get my mix downs to like maybe 90%, 95% as good as they were when I had my studio. I totally intend to build another studio at some point, but I just wanted to say that you can go on the road, you can just use headphones, and you can still make banging music. Like, my latest album, Landed, was produced entirely in headphones, with a few moments of going to studios and referencing, and being actually surprised at how accurate the VSX system was. You don't get the rumble in your tummy of a big speaker system, but you are able to discern through flicking through different listening environments how your mix is going to translate And it actually is really surprising at how well that works. Anyway, that's a bit of sort of meandering. In my next video, I'm going to be talking about the live setup that I've created, which is a system that allows for DJing as well as remixing. So I can sort of strip apart my tracks into stems or one-shot samples, or allows me to create music on the fly with vocals and vocal looping and drums and, you know, percussion leads, all that sort of stuff. So it's a really exciting system that I've been cultivating, and I am teaching how to do a similar thing in my courses. So the current course that is my kind of main thing is called Frequency Alchemy, which is all about finding your true vibration and expressing it, and letting go of any genres or expectations of what it is that you're going to create, and being able to create purely in the moment, which has been a game changer for me. And then the next course is going to be a basics. I use Studio Pro for production, having jumped from Logic. I was using Logic for about 13 years, but I found Studio Pro to be a better system. It just works better. So I'm teaching Studio Pro and Ableton, but the second course is going to be a beginner's guide to Studio Pro, which was called Studio One until very recently, and teaching people how to make the most of this epic DAW and make electronic music that really expresses what it is you want to express. So we're going to have a beginner's course, we're going to have the Frequency Alchemy course, then there's going to be another course which is crafting sound journeys and meditations. That one's going to be really exciting, and I've already had a lot of people asking about that because we host sound journey and meditation events in the New Forest, and they're always really popular and people want to know how to do it. So it's going to be my privilege to teach people how to do that stuff, and that's going to link really nicely. It'll be a perfect follow-up for the Frequency Alchemy course, but will also be something you can step into after you've done the beginner's course. Anyway, let's take a moment to just realize how beautiful nature can be. I'll show you where I'm walking. If I can swap this, can I do that? Oh no, I can't do that while I'm recording. Let me just see if I can flip the camera around instead. Not that way. Let's have a look. This is the beautiful New Forest, and it's trying to find me. But yeah, this is where I've been living for the past 4 years, completely off grid with sustainable solar energy. It's possible, you know, you don't have to make compromises. You can get, 4G internet seems to be pretty good. We've also got Starlink for emergencies. Everything, as I said, is solar powered. We're kind of free to do what we want, and I can raise my kids in this beautiful environment, free from the stresses of the sort of collapsing systems. So, yeah, all I can sort of say now is I encourage you to follow your highest excitement to the best of your abilities, and realize that creativity is an essential part of the human experience. Whatever it is that you want to create, everybody has a different thing. Some people music, some people painting, toy cars, it could be anything. But finding that thing that allows you to express the core of your being in an authentic way that only you can express, by doing that, you're kind of opening the doors for yourself to be a resonant and happy person. So I think that's kind of it for my introduction video. I hope that's been interesting in some way or other, and I will be posting some more videos really soon. But I love you, and see you in the next video. Peace.